Hi friends, I'm Tanya with Free Range Cottage, and today I want you to go thrifting with me at a local flea market. And I hadn't been to this one in quite some time, even though it's very close to my house. I was on the lookout for one thing in particular, and I want to see if you can guess what I brought home. Are you ready? Let's go check it out. I went backwards in the beginning here, but I wanted you to see all the great stuff they have outside on their porch before you even get inside the flea market. Lots of great finds. And the weathered galvanized watering cans always grab my attention. If I were to collect something, it might be that, but you know me, I would have to thrift for them and find them really reasonably priced. I loved that little garden stool, but I could also see it as an end table used inside. Just so many things to check out. And of course, a chippy white bench is going to grab my attention also. And if I had a covered front porch, that just might have had to have come home with me, but I left it there. I don't know why that big artichoke, I loved it. Probably because it's galvanized again. And a really cute bench. I thought this chicken coop, I think they're called, coffee table was really neat with the hairpin legs. Someone had put that together. And I think it said $68 on it. Not too bad. Kind of neat mix of styles. Some boutique clothing and a couple of booths here, which I love to look through. Look at these Mexican pottery canisters. I think they were 20 each. Very pretty with that terracotta. I always love that touch of almost Southwestern since I grew up in South Texas. I think that's what grabs me. Loved that green French bistro chair too. Vintage quilts are always a cottage staple. There are several furniture paint booths in here also. I have not tried this type. I have bought that Jeanne d'Arc, I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, magazine though, and I love it. All the painted pieces. These looked very cottagecore to me. This is I believe a Dixie Belle paint booth. They've been in there a while. A lot of cute painted pieces. And more of your neutral farmhouse, which is more my style, although I don't do a lot of just the excess, the clutter. It doesn't appeal to me as much, so I'm kind of more of the cozy minimalism or sort of modern cottage. So it helps to kind of define your style. That three-tiered piece, really pretty. Not saying that you have to be one specific style. You can, of course, always mix. And I think houses that mix are generally more interesting. More of the cute, curated, boutique type clothes and shoes. And I watch for sales in these places, and a lot of times even their full price is really reasonable compared to, say, a boutique clothing store. And I've bought several things at these type of places. This is that salt wash. I don't know if you've ever used that. It gives sort of a texture to anything you paint. I have not used it. I've seen some pictures of things used. And these are the IOD stamps and transfers. I actually have one set of these and I haven't even tried them out yet. I just haven't been real crafty lately. I've been more in the decluttering, organizing mode than in the crafting mode. Probably the fall will bring on a little bit of the crafting ideas. And this booth had a lot of your farmhouse white pieces. This scale was really pretty. And what was it, 110? Would take up a good bit of space, but a very, very pretty one. A lot of furniture to choose from in this flea market. So if you were in the market for furniture, flea markets are a lot of times a good place to look. Of course, I always look on Facebook Marketplace and just local places like Craigslist and other Facebook groups. More galvanized. Thought those artichokes were pretty cute. Galvanized and rust will always grab my attention. I don't have a lot of them like I used to, but I still like a touch. This was very pretty. A recycled, reclaimed wood top. A lot of times you can find unique pieces in places like flea markets, thrift stores, resale shops, secondhand furniture stores. And many times it's solid wood versus the particle board. This was actually an Article sofa. I thought it was a rattan at first, but it was wood, and it's from Article, which is fairly pricey, but very well made. And I'm sure it was a fraction of the price new. I thought this little love seat was really cute, but it needed a good cleaning or redoing on the seat. It was pretty dirty. A lot of times your used pieces are going to need some sweat equity put into them, what you save in money. Sometimes you have to work on them a little bit. I love this bench. I did not bring it home, but I still have thought about it because I would love to redo this piece. But I don't necessarily have a place for it. Kind of looking for some silverware, but I didn't look real closely at that one. Of course, my love of pottery continues. And I thought this was just so unique. The pitcher and the cups or glasses, they were some type of pottery or ceramic, but really pretty colors. Like I said, they were really chock full of furniture. This is a really neat book rack, but I thought if you could figure out a way to hang that on the wall, it might be pretty neat for dishes also. And vintage and antique pieces. Beads, jewelry. Anybody need some beaded jewelry? You've got it. I thought this was a really pretty cabinet, either to redo or as is. At $2.95, it's more than I would pay if it was something that I had to work on, but as is, not a bad price. And there's one of the, I think that's called a pie crust table, if I'm not mistaken, right here. And I thought these rolling pins were interesting that are carved out of just one piece of wood. Don't know how that would work for actual use, but would be pretty decoratively. Southern food. Always my downfall. I thought this was a very nicely curated booth. I probably liked the colors in it. They had black and white and greens. And there's that hat rack that I bought at an estate sale for $5 and left it in the wood. That was a painted white one for $20. So not a bad price. Loved this map. That was $30, I believe, framed. I didn't love the framing on it, but I did love the colors in the map. The pinks and greens. And these shelves with the green and black I thought were really unique. And looked really good with everything they sort of merchandised on there. Some tarnished silver. And I always love bird prints. I love a good bird print. Had some decorative beads. Those were $12. So not necessarily thrift store prices, but not as high as boutique prices. I loved the pig picture. Really cute. Some wall baskets, some nice pottery looking lamps, and of course this basket caught my eye, and it didn't hurt that it had gorgeous velvet purple pillows sticking up out of it. Love both of those. And it was $20. That was a pretty large basket, so not a bad price. It would be a good blanket basket or for a bigger plant. This was a huge square lidded basket for $32, which I thought was a really great deal. Some painted pieces, vintage mixed in. And then I thought this hammock was really cute for a covered space outside or even a kid's room. Be cute to have an indoor hammock. That would be fun. Or do-it-yourself section with some wood pieces. Booth with a lot of fabric to dig through, which is always fun. And of course a gorgeous little pottery mug, which I do not need at all. Someone made it. Very cute. Nice shape. Like I said, a lot to look at in this flea market. I thought this was funny. I don't have a British accent and I never shut up, so it doesn't stop me. I really liked these tables. They looked very Restoration Hardware as is, but I thought they would be really pretty if you redid that wood. I know there's a lot of bleached wood that's popular right now. That'd be very pretty with that mirrored top. It'd look a little more coastal or just a little more minimal. Very pretty. And I liked these prints. They were like a corkscrew, two different types of corkscrews. I just liked the burlap matting on them and the frames. I thought were really pretty. Whether you keep the corkscrew in there or switch it out for $20 for that large of a frame is not terrible. velvet headboard. Loved that little trunk table. It had a circular opening in it there, which I thought would be so great to take out the wood that was in there and put the caning in that's so popular right now. Be a really pretty piece without too much effort. And some of the crockery. I always love these crocks. And at that estate sale, I paid $20 a piece for that size, and this one was $39. So not a bad price, but I did get a good deal at that estate sale compared to that. Nice bookshelf with the arches. I know the arch top cabinets are really popular right now. Painting them black. I think there's a Restoration Hardware or Crate and Barrel one that everybody's kind of knocking off, and it's really pretty. This was a huge table all done in sort of silver leaf. Way fancy, but you know, I'm just drawn to the humble starfish over here. I love the natural look of seashells and just nature finds are just totally my jam. This was a really pretty painted cabinet all ready to go. Some pretty amber glass in there. So before I tell you what I brought home, I'm showing you my dining table in my tiny dining room. And I love this table. It's a beautiful table, but it has always been, we had even downsized from a bigger one than this. And it always just felt a little bit tight and crowded in the dining room. And it was starting to frustrate me. So, of course, that's when my wheels start turning. And it also did not fit my wicker chairs that I had slowly over time gotten from IKEA. And I really didn't want to get rid of those because I love the texture and the finish on them. So I had been thinking about a round table, even though I wasn't finding one that was really big. This one from World Market I really liked, but I wasn't about to pay the $1,000 plus shipping plus delivery. But I really did like it, even though it probably is going to only fit 6 people at the most, something that size. I think this one was a 60-inch. So I kind of started looking, and I ended up finding this one that's 55 inches around, and it was the one you saw in the flea market that had the reclaimed wood top and the base very similar to the World Market one for a fraction of the price. I've really been enjoying it. It feels so spacious in the dining room, and I sit here and work a lot of times, and it just feels uncluttered and roomy. And I ended up putting my other IKEA chairs with it, even though the wicker ones do fit and they slide under it perfectly well. This just felt really roomy and comfortable. And I decided I can always use a folding table and add that into the dining room if we need more room on a holiday. So far we have loved it and have been sitting at the table a lot more to eat, which was my goal. So I just kind of played around with a table setting. I got a lot of my thrifted pieces out, my lettuceware, those gorgeous etched glasses that have been sitting in the cabinet. I brought those out. I cut some hydrangeas from my yard and some asparagus fern and brought those in, and I made sort of a wild type of arrangement and it extended it down with some of my estate sale bowls, pulled that blue from the hydrangeas and just added some sage and a peach in each of those, and the limes picking up the green. I think I had told you before that I used to own a flower shop, and I always really lean towards the more wild sort of looking arrangements, like you just grabbed an armful of flowers out of a wildflower field and brought them inside. And even the vase is a Martha Stewart champagne bucket, I believe, and I had thrifted that years ago. And there's the pretty lettuceware. Just about everything on the table is thrifted, and I think it goes great with the tabletop. And some fancy bread my son brought home from his specialty cheese shop he works at. Again, I just really think you should extend your flower arrangement with some interesting little pieces around it, pulling out more of the color. And you know, it was really freeing. I went ahead and I sold that other table and bought this one, and I even put some money in my pocket, and just to make the house function for our everyday and not just living with it feeling too tight and crowded for a couple times a year that we're going to have extra people at it. I think that if there's a space in your home that you want to change out, but it's not really necessarily traditional, but it will work better for your family, I say go for it. And I have my rug. It's a rectangular rug. It's too small, but I kind of really like those greens and black and white and neutrals picked up in this flower arrangement and table. It just looks good with everything and has just really been functioning so much better for us, and which makes me feel more creative. So I hope you'll come back next time for more ideas. Thanks for watching.